a dark blue perfume. It would be true to say that not a day had passed without his thinking of her, except for the middle years. There had been other women then to distract him, though no one he cared for enough to make his second wife. But once he was in his 50s, the memory of her returned with all its old vividness. He would see other men settling down into middle age, looking towards old age, with loving wives beside them, and he would say to himself, "Catherine, Catherine." He had never, since she left him, worked and lived in his native land. He was employed by a company which sent him all over the world. For years he had lived in South America, Africa, and the West Indies, coming home only on leave and not always then. He meant to come home when he retired, though, and to this end, on one of those leaves, he had bought himself a house. It was in the city where she and he had been born, but he had chosen a district as far as possible from the one in which she had gone to live with her new husband, and a long way from where they had once lived together. For the time when he had bought it was the time when he had begun daily to think of her again. He retired when he was 65 and came home. He flew home and sent the possessions he had accumulated by sea. They included the gun he had acquired 40 years before, with which he had intended to shoot himself when things became unendurable. But they had never been quite unendurable even then. Anger against her and hatred for her had sustained him, and he had never got so far as even loading the small, unused automatic. It was winter when he got home, bleak and wet, and far colder than he remembered. When the snow came, he stayed indoors, keeping warm, seeing no one. There was no one to see anyway. They had gone away or died. When his possessions arrived in 3 trunks, that was all that he had amassed in 40 years, 3 trunkfuls of bric-a-brac. He unpacked wonderingly. Only the gun had been put in by him. His servants had packed the rest. Things came to light he had long forgotten he owned, books, curios, and in an envelope he thought he had destroyed in those early days all his photographs of her. He sat looking at them one evening in early spring. The woman who came to clean for him had brought him a bowl of blue hyacinths, and the air was heavy and languorous with the sweet scent of them. "Catherine, Catherine," he said as he looked at the picture of her in their garden, the picture of her at the seaside, her hair blowing. How different his life would have been if she had stayed with him. If he had been a complacent husband and borne it all, and taken it all and forgiven her. But how could he have borne that? How...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?